Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College Application and Website Development, or AWD program, and in particular the AWD 1111.NET Framework with Web Databases class, I've been creating a series of video presentations for the textbook that will be used for this class for the fall 2019 semester. That book being Pro ASP.NET MVC 5 in A-Press Text by Adam Freeman. I'm in Chapter 5 of 27, and I left off on page 99, working with layouts. It says the other expression in the index.cs HTML file. Let's bring that up. So we already talked about what that one is, and let's talk here about what this one is. That's the layout equal null. And they mentioned this is an example of a Razor code block, and it's a code block because it exists between curly braces. There's only one line there, but we could put multiple lines. This line sets our layout property to null. Now, we'll go into this more in Chapter 20, but the author says near the top of page 100 that Razor views are compiled into C# classes in an MVC application and the base class that is used to define the layout property. All right, so we'll talk a little bit more about it at that time. This will be, since we've said layout equal null, this will be a self-contained view. And as it says, it's fine for a sample app, but a real project can have dozens of views. You know, just like a website, when you go out, if it's got multiple pages, the look and feel of every page can be the same, or the look and feel of every page can be different. In effect, layouts are templates that contain the markup that will be used to create consistency across the app. So, as mentioned here, to create a layout, right mouse click on the Views folder, choose Add New Item, okay, and select MVC 5 Layout Page Razor Template as is shown right here. So we need to go right mouse click on Views, make sure we choose Web MVC. So we will right mouse click here on Views. And we're choosing Add. Make sure I'm doing this right. Add New Item. Whoops, I picked the wrong one. I'm sorry. Right mouse click on Views, Add New Item. Go to MVC here, which we don't have. There we go, Web MVC. And from there, we want to choose MVC 5 Layout Page Razor, what they show right here. Third one down. And we are to set the name, excuse me, we are to set the name to _ basic layout. I spelled it wrong. .cshtml. All right, start it with an underscore and then a capital B and for basic and a capital L for layout. All right. After we do this and click Add, we will notice a new file here. There it is. And here is our file up here. Files in the Views folder that begin with an underscore are not returned to the user. In other words, we can use the underscore to differentiate between views we want to render and the support files. Layouts are support files prefixed with an underscore. All right? So we're going to want to make some changes in here. Our title, I guess we'll leave it at that, at viewbag.title. And the render body is kind of where all the magic works. All right? So layouts are a special type of view or a specialized form of view. And the razor expressions are the at viewbag.title and the at render body. The at render body inserts the contents of the view specified by the action method at that point. All right. So what we'll want to do in here is we're going to want to put some stuff within and before that div. The elements in this layout are going to be applied to any view that uses this particular layout. That's why layouts are essentially templates. So on page 101, we add some markup here. The first thing is an H1 tag that says product information. All right. Then we've got our div. And we want style equals padding 20 pixels all the way around. A border, which will be solid, medium, black, and a font size of 20 points. There's a lot of things I could say about this because in some ways at least they're almost violating some rules. It's not really worth talking about. It's pretty simplistic stuff. There's the end of that. Okay, there's our end tag for our div. Put it back in there. All right. And after that div, we want an H2 tag which says visit and a little self-promotion here. All right. So let's take a step back and look at what we've done here. The author added two header elements, an H1 and an H2. Those should be pretty self-evident as far as what's going on. Put some inline styles in, which is, again, is not a recommended practice, but it works just fine here. And that contains the render body expression. All right, just to make it clear what content comes from the layout and what content comes from the view. So the stuff that's in the layout is the stuff we just added. All right, as far as coming in and applying the layout, second here. I know I've mentioned this time after time, but when I bring this up like this, this is the screen I get at the end of the production process that I just did for the previous video. So, all right. To apply the layout to the view, we need to set the layout, or the value rather, of the view property. The layout contains the HTML elements that define the structure of the response to the browser. All right, so we're going to do that in just a second. But first, the author says, and he does this quite often in here. Sorry, I fell a little behind there. Tip, I also set a value for the viewbag title property, which will be used as the contents of the title element in the HTML document. This is optional, but it's a good practice, because if there is no property, it'll return an empty title element. So let's go back to our index.cs HTML file. And at the top, we're going to add this. I think we want that line too. Okay. File, save all. And we are here. So I actually think that what we want is we want this to not go there, but to go here. So we want to replace what's here with this. Sorry for doing it wrong to begin with. All right. So the key takeaway is here. We've changed our title and we changed the layout that we're using. And we're going to put down here the product name. You already know that this should say kayak. But it'll say product name kayak is what it should say. So file, save all. Let's try to run it right from this particular file. So I'm going to right mouse click on my index and choose view in browser. I think I've saved. And hopefully, let's just get there first. Hopefully it's going to look like this. You see down toward the bottom half of page 102. That's garbage. And there we have it. Well, I've got kayak in there twice, so I'll have to remove that second one. We've got the product information, product name kayak, visit Apress. So I'll have to find out where I've got that kayak in there the second time. In fact, I know where it is. That's in the div here. Now, since we are changing just the .cs HTML file, I can do a save all, come back to my page, and I should be able to just refresh, and that should be gone. And you can see that it is. Now, right now, not much to look at. That isn't the point. All right. All right, I have a tiny wrinkle to sort out, which is that I have to specify the layout file I want in every view. That means that if I need to rename the layout file, we'll have to change it in every view that refers to that, which can be error prone. So, turning up to page 103, as the author says here, we can make our life at least a little easier by using a view start file. When it renders a view, you can see this. MVC will look for a file called _view.start. And as it says, the contents of this file will be treated as though they are contained in the file itself. Now, we don't need to add this new file because evidently when I set this up before, I didn't have the right settings, so I already have a view start. But what we're going to do is we're going to change that view start file so that instead of saying view shared _layout, we're going to have views shared, just views, I should say, not shared. Okay, this is not in the shared directory. So get rid of shared there. And we're going to say _basic layout. And that's wrong. It is _basic layout. So the view start file contains a value for the layout property, which means that we can remove the corresponding expression from our index.cs HTML file. So I'm going to do a save all rather. go back to our index.cshtml file, and now this is redundant, so it can be removed. Again, File, Save All. We don't have to specify that we want to use the ViewStart file. The MVC framework will locate the file and use its contents automatically. Now, to be sure, before we go on, let's do one more view, Save All. All right, and I don't know if this was still running or not, but I am going to stop the run. We've made a few changes here, and let's start it again. So I will again right mouse click on index.cshtml and view it in the browser. And you can see it looks just the same as it did previously. All right, I'm at 16 minutes. You know what that means. That means it's time to stop this particular lesson and get ready to start our next.